Step into the glitz and glamour of Hollywood, where the lives of celebrities are filled with fame, fortune, and endless scrutiny. But what happens when the spotlight exposes scandalous secrets? Join us as we journey back to the golden age of Hollywood, uncovering the salacious moments that the industry wants you to forget. From forbidden love affairs to shocking betrayals, we'll take you on a wild ride through the scandalous past of some of the biggest stars in Hollywood. Buckle up and get ready for a juicy ride as we bring you the secrets that Hollywood tried to keep hidden. Number 1. Charles Chaplin. Charles Chaplin, a brilliant comedian, actor, writer, composer, director, and filmmaker, is renowned for creating one of the most iconic characters of all time, the immortal Little. However, his personal life was far from perfect, especially when it came to relationships with women. His first and second wives were both only 16 years old when he married them, and his second wife, Leda Gray, convinced Chaplin that she was pregnant with his child, leading to a hasty marriage. Otherwise, he could have been imprisoned for having sex with a minor. Although she wasn't pregnant, she later bore him 2 sons. However, the marriage didn't last, and by 1926, they were headed to divorce court. Leda presented a different image of Chaplin from his popular public persona, and the divorce became a scandal that the newly minted entertainment tabloids and mainstream press couldn't get enough of. According to Leda, Chaplin had demanded an abortion before their marriage, which she couldn't have because she wasn't pregnant. She also claimed that their marriage would be short-lived. The 2 sons she bore later in the marriage brought into question her accusations that Charles ignored her completely. However, the press and the public were easily persuaded that Chaplin was an abusive monster, a profligate womanizer with a taste for young girls, an image he could not escape. She succeeded in trashing Chaplin's reputation while relieving him of $800,000, which would amount to $11 million today. It was the largest divorce settlement in American history at the time. Number 2. Errol Flynn. During the 1950s, the phrase, "like Flynn," meant that someone was in an envelope with the success of whatever venture was being undertaken. However, in the 1940s, the namesake of the phrase Errol Flynn found himself in a precarious position that could destroy his reputation, career, marriage, and freedom. Sex with minor females under the age of 18 in California was statutory rape, and Flynn found himself charged with the crime by not 1, but 2 underage young ladies. Peggy Satterlee and Betty Hansen, both 17 years old, accused Flynn of seducing them. Peggy on Flynn's yacht, and Betty in the home of a friend. The press was largely against Flynn, and like Chaplin before him, Flynn was a foreigner and thus possessed of unimaginable TSAs. Although Flynn's attorneys managed to point out that both girls had been previously involved with other married men of lesser fame and wealth, prosecutors coordinated both cases when presenting their accusations. Flynn's acquittal did not restore his reputation. In much of the public's opinion, there was that pesky fact that he was a foreigner. Flynn was Australian, and xenophobia was at its height in the early days of the Second World War. The press eventually went on to other things, but Flynn's image was permanently damaged, and he never again enjoyed the reputation of being a romanticized gentleman, cultured and debonair. Number 3. Tallulah Bankhead. Tallulah Bankhead was born into a wealthy and privileged family. Although mainly known as a stage actor, she became a symbol of Hollywood extravagance in her lifetime. Bankhead was too scandalous to be linked to scandals. She simply didn't care what anyone, including her father, said of her. She enjoyed drugs and alcohol and didn't attempt to hide the fact from the public. At a time when the procedure was illegal throughout most of the country, Bankhead had at least 4 abortions. She was linked to sexual relationships with both men and women. In one interview, she referred to herself as bisexual. Bankhead welcomed the controversy, which is why she was never tainted by scandal. She was one of Hollywood's untouchables. Number 4. J. Edgar Hoover. J. Edgar Hoover's files on Hollywood personalities were extensive collections of personal information and activities he documented, often through little more than innuendo. The files were held for blackmail and were used to discredit Hollywood's elite. Hoover used his position as head of the FBI to keep files on stars, directors, producers, and reporters. Most of the information he collected and held secretly was intended to be used for his benefit. The vast majority of the information was collected without regard to its accuracy or its relevance to the mission of the FBI. One of the greatest scandals in Hollywood, indeed in all of American history, was the abuse of power routinely practiced by the man who considered himself to be the greatest lawman in America throughout his long and self-serving career. Number 5. Fatty Arbuckle, Roscoe. Fatty Arbuckle was one of Hollywood's biggest stars in 1921, the first to pocket $1 million per year and well known around town for his hedonistic pursuits. On September 5, 1921, Arbuckle attended a gala party on the 12th floor of San Francisco's famed St. Francis Hotel. During the party, actress Virginia Rappe was heard screaming in a room from which Arbuckle later emerged. Guests and friends of Arbuckle's who found the 30-year-old actress claimed that she was raped by Arbuckle. Though a subsequent physical examination revealed no physical evidence of sexual assault, Rappe died of peritonitis the next day. Arbuckle was tried 3 times, with the first 2 resulting in mistrials due to juries being unable to render a verdict. In the third, he was acquitted, but the press and the public had long before convicted him. Arbuckle's fame was a liability rather than an asset, and he became a Hollywood outcast. Number 6. Elizabeth Taylor. Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton's love affair was scandalous and captivating. Taylor and Burton were married twice, and their relationship was characterized by public feuds and passionate reconciliations. They met on the set of Cleopatra in 1963, while Taylor was still married to Eddie Fisher, whom she stole from Debbie Reynolds. Their affair was so intense that the Vatican condemned their relationship, and the tabloids had a field day. They continued to work together in movies and stage productions, but their love story was short-lived. The couple's tumultuous relationship ended in divorce in 1976, but their love affair continues to fascinate us to this day. Number 7. Olive Thomas. Our list takes us back to Hollywood in 1920, where the life of Olive Thomas intersected with that of Jack Pickford, the brother of Mary Pickford, one of Hollywood's most powerful women at the time. Olive, a former Ziegfeld girl, was considered by some to be the most beautiful woman in the world, but her beauty was not enough to save her from a tragic end. Her marriage to Jack was a tumultuous one, with constant fights and accusations. It is still debated whether Olive was aware of Jack's syphilis and his highly toxic mercury treatment, which he carried with him at all times. In September 1920, Olive took a lethal dose of Jack's bichloride of mercury, and she died that night in considerable pain. The scandal that ensued involved multiple theories from suicide to murder, with some believing that Mary Pickford herself was involved in Olive's death. Despite the French authorities ruling the poisoning accidental, Olive's death continued to be a topic of gossip and speculation in Hollywood for years to come, and some say her ghost still haunts the New Amsterdam Theater in New York. Moving on to number 8. William Taylor. We delve into the unsolved murder of director William Taylor in 1921. Taylor was one of Hollywood's most prolific directors at the time, and was known to rely on what would later be known as the casting couch. He maintained a relationship with actress Mabel Normand, but on February 1, 1921, he was found dead in his home after entertaining Normand the night before. The Los Angeles police removed evidence of Taylor's liaisons with other women, including underage actresses, which only added fuel to the rumors and innuendo that followed. The list of suspects included fellow director Mack Sennett, Mary Minter's mother, and an allegedly gay Englishman who turned out to be neither gay nor English. Despite the numerous theories and suspects, the LAPD was unable to solve the murder, leaving Hollywood gossip to speculate for years to come. While the probability of solving the crime may be slim after nearly a century, the scandal and intrigue of William Taylor's murder continue to fascinate and captivate us today. Number 9. Peg Entwistle. One of the most iconic symbols of Hollywood is the sign that spells out its name in the Hollywood Hills. However, in 1932, it was the site of a tragic event that shook Hollywood to its core. Peg Entwistle, a young actress who had recently completed work on the film 13 Women, despondent over her stalled career, jumped from the H in the Hollywood sign to her death. Her suicide note and the dramatic nature of her demise created a sensation in Hollywood. Despite being cut out of the final print of the film, her promise as an actress was emphasized in the sensationalized reports of her death. In 2014, a group of roughly 100 film fans gathered to mark her passing by viewing 13 women in a Hollywood parking lot as a way of raising awareness and money for suicide prevention. Number 10. Spencer Tracy. In 1941, Spencer Tracy, one of Hollywood's most successful and in-demand leading men, began an affair with actress Katharine Hepburn. Tracy was a married man who presented the public persona of being a devout Catholic, though he did not follow the practices of the religion piously. From 1941 until his death, the two maintained an affair that was an open secret in Hollywood. Tracy did not seek a divorce, nor did he return to married life to attempt a reconciliation. For the rest of his life, rather than living with Hepburn, Tracy resided in hotels, with MGM helping to continue the charade of his having a happily married life. During their lengthy affair, Tracy was also unfaithful to Hepburn, having an affair with actress Jean Tierney. When Tracy died, Hepburn did not attend his funeral to avoid embarrassing his wife. MGM helped quell reports of Tracy's long battle with alcohol, barbiturates, and dexedrine, including at least 2 arrests for alcohol-related incidents. Tracy was buried in Forest Lawn. It's hard to believe, but scandals in old Hollywood were even wilder than the ones we witness today, ranging from clandestine love affairs to heinous crimes. These scandals are bound to shock you. Which of these scandals took you by surprise? Did any of your beloved actors make the list? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section below. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in our next video.